Yeah.
Well, I was stuck in 10 forward with the Vulcan delegation, the most boring celebration in the United Federation. The Klingons and the Romulans were trying to be polite. Not even William Riker's getting lucky here tonight. That's when the idea struck me. I let Dinah know the score, then I found the nearest holodeck and opened up the door. Computer, give me disco. Put some glitter on the screen. I want the funkiest roller program that this ship has ever seen. Synthesize the rhythm, make the polyester shine. Kill the lights and set the star date to 1979. The sensors overloaded, my terminal exploded. The disco holoprogram was suddenly uploaded. It reached communication like a bug simulation. That funky, nasty bass line was played at every station. Inertial dampeners failing, the diplomats were wailing. The loudest sound the quadrants ever heard was auto-scaling. The doctor started tapping, the captain started rapping. The buttons of their uniforms were
what happened?
literally snapping. No way to isolate it. We had to celebrate it. I invited everyone on board and no one hesitated. The prime directive is to dance and forward never stood a chance. The holodeck just took control. Now let the groove into your soul. Resistance is futile. You gotta let go. Engage the dance floor and make it so. The prime directive is to dance. Outward all power to the trance. Computer blast that bass again. Let's take this party to Wall 10. Now Scotty's in the DJ booth. He's remixing the sound. Q's rolling up a fat one. Don't believe me? Ask around. Uhura's cracked the frequency. Now the folks on all the comms. She's dropping subspace baseline beats like they were proton bombs. Data's doing the robot. Kurt just ripped off the shirt. Murphy's doing the hustle. Joey ate all the dessert. The doctor's overriding all his ethical subroutines. Saw him popping hollow pills and snorting lines with the breed. Janeway spiked a coffee with some nebula delight. And I heard her threaten to kill whoever don't get down tonight. It's red alert on every deck. Got Tuvok pinching every neck. Ferengi women are turning tricks. The Borg just plugged into the mix. They're scanning us from deep in space. They wanna come to rock this place. Forget the rules and regulations. United Funk Federation. The prime directive is to dance and forward never stood a chance. The holodeck just took control. Now let the groove into your soul. Resistance is futile. You gotta let go. Engage the dance floor and make it so. The prime directive is to dance. I've heard all power to the trance. Computer blast that bass again. Let's take this party to Wall 10. Calling the Enterprise. Beam me up. Calling Voyager. Beam me up. Deep Space Nine. Are you feeling fine? This is Deep Space Nine. We're feeling fine.
Captain, the funk is reading off the scale. Dopamine levels at 100%. Inhibitions at 0. It is highly illogical. It is fascinating.
Hit it! The prime directive is to dance and forward never stood a chance. The holodeck just took control. Now let the groove into your soul. Resistance is futile. You gotta let go. Engage the dance floor and make it so. The prime directive is to dance. I've heard all power to the trance. Computer blast that bass again. Let's take this party to Wall 10. The prime directive is to dance. Set phases to funk. O'Brien energized. Set phases to funk.
Hailing frequencies open, Captain. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not the DJ. Live long and get down.
You know, this is somebody with entirely too much time on their hands. I mean, really. You know how long it was it took to make that AI? Uh, Carolyn Mars. You know, every Star Trek is in there except for Academy. No, Discovery's in there too. Just Academy's not. Everything else is in there. Even Pike's in there. Yeah, you see him with his little gray hairs. I don't know. 7 and 9 looks like she's about to eat Kirk, man. That's like, what's going on in here? I don't know. There's a bunch of these Star Trek ones that we usually watch. There's the original TOS one, and then there's Picard, and then there's Deep Space Nine. They're all in a trailer. Trailers parking across the sky or something. I don't know who did it, but they're having a ball with it, and I'm sure they're making a good bit of money off of it. Well, there's that other series with Bigfoot. You haven't seen that one? Oh man, we couldn't play that one on this show. Oh no, it's let's just say it ain't G rated. Leave it at that. I don't know how this gets away with all the cigarette smoking going on. You know, they don't care about marijuana. You can smoke marijuana all you want. I noticed, like even out in LA, you can smoke marijuana in a hotel, but you can't smoke a cigarette in there. I'm like, what kind of screwed up rules are these?
Yeah, well, let's not get into how
I don't smoke either one.
There isn't. But anyway, hello, Joe. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been here.
I know you've been out partying, running the streets, getting.
Yeah, that's me.
I know he was telling me he was bad. Yeah. He had to slap him a couple times looking at skanky girls and stuff. I don't know.
Really?
You can't let him loose in you.
That happens.
Well, I don't know. He might have been looking the other way or something.
She's got 18 eyes around her head.
Yeah, I don't doubt that even a little bit.
She doesn't miss anything.
No, we're talking about John's wife, Emily. Yeah. Oh no, she ain't letting no skanky girls around him. I can tease him all day long because I know she will smack somebody up against a wall. She'd be like, "No, get your fingers off my man." What do you mean? Who's more protective? No, they're protective of each other. That's a thing. No, they're close. I mean, as close as you can be with people. It's close as much as I see them. I mean, I don't know. She might smack him around when she's at home. I don't know. She might have one of them electric whips.
No, the only thing she does is that sword you gave her. Every now and then she will pull it on me saying, "Look at, I said, rub my back."
I was thinking the other day, I think I found the 2 throwing blades that go with them. I have to look.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're about yay long. They slide.
Yeah, we see the holes where they both belong. Yeah,
so I found them the other day.
You can have something to bring with you when you come out again in a couple of weeks.
No, Jesse, I brought her it's a samurai sword. It's the one with the curled dragon head on it. It's a through blade all the way through. So even if she wanted to, she could actually change the hilt on it if she wanted to. It's I collect swords. I have cheap swords and expensive swords. Yes. No, I would not bring her a cheap one. I mean, cheap like $60 or $80 a set. That set that one belongs to cost me, I think it was $1,700. Well, I tell you what, if you go to any of the conventions like Dragon Con or Fanix, they actually sell them there. So they sell these, so you can get, you can always get these there. But they actually sell real swords. They sell the cheap ones too for people who don't want to spend the money, but they got the nice ones. Matter of fact, when I was in Fanix last time I seen John in Fanix, the guy had a really nice one. I would have really liked to have bought, but it was about $7,000. Oh, my wife would have hurt me. It's $7. No, that's not reasonable. But beautiful swords and really good craftsmanship. Dean, the first thing you look for as a sword is that the blade goes all the way through the hilt. If it does, like if you hold it like this and the handle moves, give it back. Yeah, because the first time you're going to chop someone, the blade's going to fall out the damn handle. What do you mean why I have? Because when the zombie apocalypse comes, I've got 9, 12, I think I have 18 I'm in there right now. I've given a few away over the years, though. Well, there's another one I was going to bring her, but it's real heavy, and she's a tiny little thing. No, she's like this big. I think she weighs like 115 pounds or something. I could probably curl her with one arm. I'm pretty sure I could have picked her up before. I'm pretty sure I could curl her with one arm. Nothing wrong with that. She's a pretty woman. Yes. I like when she had a lion mane going there. That was badass looking. Oh, I hadn't seen her in about a year, and she had a new hairstyle she was wearing when I seen her last time. All shiny and golden and stuff. I notice everything, Keith. I raised a bunch of women. I live with a bunch of women. I was raised by a bunch of women. Trust me when I tell you I notice everything. It's the safest way not to get in trouble.
There you go. We were together the last couple of weeks. Because I've not spoken with you for a bit. So
I know
we
Giving
went.
me a karma guy.
Yeah,
Poor
we
karma.
went to. We first of all we flew into Denver and drove then to Colorado Springs, where we had the Superstars Writing Conference, where we were on several panels, and we had a booth there, all on writers and illustrators of the future, and that was a lot of fun. I recorded 5 podcasts there, and we were on half a dozen different panels, and chatted for a bunch of people, and just we had several of our past Writers of the Future winners, and we had 4 of our Writers of the Future judges there. There was Kevin and Rebecca, and Robert J. Sawyer, and Mark Leslie Lefebvre. They were all there at that conference. And then when that was over, we then flew to Las Vegas and stayed the night. And then we drove up to Kanab, which is the southernmost part of Utah. And that used to be nicknamed Little Hollywood. And we stayed at a place, Perry's, which is where a lot of the famous actors used to stay when they were filming there. So you see these doors there with John Wayne and probably about 20 different actors that were there and that were filming. And then we interviewed a guy named Dr. Buck. He goes by Doctor because he's a stunt man. He's also got a stunt show, and he does a lot of reenactments and stuff. And so he calls himself Doctor because he's always with his stunts that he does. He always breaks ribs. So he stopped going to doctors and just learned how to do it himself. So he called himself Doctor.
Wrap them bad boys up.
Yeah. So he just takes care of his own broken ribs.
Carolyn, getting broken ribs suck. I broke these 3 right here and split 2 coastal chondritis while I was in the service. They wrap you so tight you're like, it's just hard to breathe. So I would catch myself moving the thing around. Doctor screaming at a bunch. Your ribs are gonna be awesome, dude. You can't. I gotta breathe, doc. I mean, come on. I broke a lot of bones over the years, Christy. Yeah. Who told you that? Oh yes. Jay. We have 3 hosts in Pennsylvania, and they're all petitioning to bring Fetterman on the show. That's a true story. I don't know why it got leaked. It wasn't supposed to be until it was confirmed, but yes, it looks good. Yeah. We've got a big enough audience, more so than most of the audiences goes on. So we'll the lady said right off the bat, 2 weeks before we even review it. Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Now I might bring him on here. He likes to write. I was talking to one of his people about it. Well, so we gave him the option what show he wanted to be on. He's a big enough guest that we're not gonna hold him. We're gonna tell him whatever you want to be on, whatever time you want to be on. We can always arrange it. I don't know where I guess are they hiding. I'm gonna hit him again in a second. I think that time's got flip-flopped or something. But I emailed them just a minute ago.
And I sent them links as well.
Clara, to get on this show, to be honest with you, it's tough because 9 months out of the year we're working on Writers of the Future stuff. There are 1 or 2 months where we're just doing guests, but it's usually guests associated with something else we're doing. No, I mean, you can write to me in, let's see, April. Let's see, we got 2 months before, 8 weeks before April, and then 3 months, 4 months after. It's May, June, July, August, September. It's, September to October is about the only shot you got to get on here. That's the only months we're not going to be tied up. It's because we interview all the guests ahead of time. Then, of course, we interview them while we're there, and then we do individual interviews, 2-hour interviews when they come back. Yeah, so it's a much different thing. So when we bring on the 4, it's just 4 people talking for 2 hours, and then when we're there, the interviews can run anywhere from 15 minutes up to an hour. I try not to let them go over an hour. I know John goes and talks for 3 hours and stuff. I don't know how he does that, but I try to keep them. To be honest with you, Clara, so. Illustrators usually are short interviews unless they're judges. But if they're not judges, they're generally short. Not all of them, but most of them are generally short interviews. Authors, they talk as much as I do. So, but not when they become judges.
Did you do, Joe?
Oh man, some talk more. Larry talks.
Maybe Larry Elmore does. But he's
talks circles around me. Jay asked me last night if I'd invite Larry on one of the shows. I said, it was Larry, and he wanted me to. He said, Joe, you should invite Larry and Orson Scott on at the same time. I'm like, I don't know about that. He's like, why? I said, I'd have to have John there for that. He's like, why? I said, because we'd get in trouble for sure. I said, Scott doesn't pull any punches, Jay. You know, he just doesn't. And Larry really doesn't either. No, they would have to be individual interviews.
We brought, by the way, speaking of Orson Scott Card, when we were in Provo, Utah last week, we had a big signing at a Barnes and Noble there in Orem, Utah. And so Scott came. We brought him, first of all, to the Life, Universe, and Everything conference, which was a total smash hit. But then we brought him to the Barnes and Noble. Even the state started promoting to come there to see him.
They should.
They've been there for a long time. People were coming in from outside of Utah to get their book signed. So when we got there, he said it'll be there from 5. Originally it was 5 to 7. He said, don't say when I'll be until, just say I'll be there starting 5 o'clock. So he came there at 5. And there were probably between 400 and 500 people that showed up. And it was just amazing. And so this one family came with the 2 boys and said, yes, this is my son, Orson, and this is my young son, Ender. You know, the number of people that have named their kids Ender after Ender's Game.
I've been surprised by that. That's crazy.
No, it's a lot of them. And
Yes.
and other authors, famous authors, have had their, have found kids named after their main characters. But Scott has had a lot because Ender's Game is one of those beloved books that's in reading classes from all across America for kids in elementary and middle school. That's one of the books that they're all gotten to read. And but it was great. And he goes at his own pace because he'll talk to everybody. And he was, he said at the beginning of the signing, he said, okay, good. So everybody with kids, you come up the front of the line, so we'll get you out of the way first. Cause what's like having screaming kids. So after the first hour, it wasn't getting a lesson. He said, oh, I forgot. I'm in Orem. Orem is single-handedly taking care of the repopulation of the United States. So because they're all having families, and it is a real problem with the negative growth rate right now in the United States, and that's not something that in Orem that they take seriously.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, and that's what they do there. So we then switched it over, but the store closes at 9. He left at 1:30 in the morning.
Damn.
He had so much fun. His brother came, who's one of the directors at Utah Valley University, which is pretty close to Brigham Young. And so he came and he had his kids and then their kids. So there was like 20 different people that all came to see him. And we had a really fun group photo of Scott and Christine, his wife, and then his brother and all his kids and grandkids behind him. So that was pretty good. But there were just so many people that came to, and Scott chats with everybody. He's not going to rush. He doesn't do the fast flow signing like some authors do. He just, no, these are my fans. They've been waiting. They wanted to see this stuff. So he chats with them.
That's what I do. I like chatting with him. It's a good thing. I remember I think it was the second interview I did when we were out there. Where were we? Roosevelt or somewhere? I think it was at Roosevelt. And him and I are talking, and he was telling me about what had happened to him, and, why he was gone for so long. So let me tell you something, Orson. I said, you never let that happen again. I said, you were with good people. John and Emily will protect you. I said, but better yet, I said, if someone ever tells you something stupid like that, call John, tell him, give you my phone number, and I'll handle it for you. I said, I guarantee you they will never bother you again.
Yeah.
He's like, really? I said, oh yeah, I can be way mean and I have a big reach and I won't put up with the crap. I said, I like you. I think you're a good guy. I said, even though you don't like Ender's Game, I do. He started laughing. And well, this lady the other day is cussing me on we were on I think Karma was with me and she types into me, she's, you shouldn't say stuff like that. So it's like, what? That the guy's a nice guy and he's a good guy and stuff like this. He is. I said, I've talked to him many times now. I said, I've talked to him at least a dozen times. I said, he's a good guy. He's a nice guy. And I said, I told him we'd protect him. I said, why? He's a grown man. Should be able to protect himself. I said, from the woke media, give me a break. I said, it takes, I said, authors and illustrators are not built to deal with the woke media, but I am. I said, you want to play with me? I said, you're going to go home crying. And I think Carmen heard that last part. And he's like, Joe, I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just something I was telling one of the listeners. But you know, these people get crazy and they think it's okay to be mean to people. You know, for a long time I was being nice until
they feel like they're entitled to.
yeah. You know, I had taken a break from being mean for a while. I started chilling about 10 years ago. I was just quiet and people just wouldn't leave it alone. I'm not even Linda told me one day, she goes, you're just being too nice. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's and I kept hearing it. So now that I got mean again, they're like, oh, well, wait, we might have misspoke. It's too late now, buddy.
Yeah.
And I said, this girl called me on the chat the other night, just cussing away. And I'm like, are you through now? She's like, yeah, I've said everything I need to say. I said, well, I have not a clue what you just said. So I said, I'm just going to throw you out to chat now because I have no clue. I couldn't understand a word she said. She was talking too fast. And even Jay's like, what? I said, I don't know. She's speaking extraterrestrial or something. You mean Donald Trump? I don't think I would, Curly, I would write to Trump and I would beg Trump to come on News on the Flip Side, but I don't think we have the reach that he wants, even though we have bigger reach than a lot of the major networks. Besides, he'd have too much fun with us because we'd be pro Trump. He'd have too much fun. Yeah, we'd all get in trouble for sure. I'd probably get fired. Yeah.
You're the owner. Anyways, has anybody responded yet?
I have got nobody. Let me check the email. Maybe I got a crisscross on the email. Nobody's in the bottom. You'll hear them when they come in. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, what we got here? Yeah, 5 or no 5. No, this is Sterling. He's supposed to be
Carmen
a 5.
Saying where's Steve? So is Steve there?
No, Steve said it says hi. This is Steve. Link to the show. Come in around 5 or around 3.
Coming now.
Okay, I'm gonna text to him right now. Hit reply.
That's where it gets confusing when you have all these different time zones.
Yeah.
But anyway, as I was saying, then we went up through Kanab and then we drove up to Salt Lake City and we did several video interviews. And then we drove back down to Provo, Utah for Life, Universe, and Everything, which is a writing conference that's been going on for 44 years. And that's based on the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where the answer to life, the universe, and everything is what's asked
42.
42, which is for us year 42 of Writers of the Future. So we're all excited about that. And so we did some stuff.
Year 42 and breaking 1,000, huh?
Yeah,
it's a good year.
Yeah,
we should have had the hotel put a big banner up.
Yeah, we'll figure out something on that. We're definitely going to make hay with this.
No, Chris. So I just spoke out of turn, but the 1,000 is 1,000 winners since they have conceived this. Yeah, since L. Ron Hubbard conceived this, when was 84 or something? 80. John knows the date, but they've had 1,000 winners since then. It's a lot of winners. Do you know how many
careers? Received the link that went to a 404 page.
Did it? I'll send him another one. What, Steve said that? Or okay, hold on. Let me go back where you are. And because you should have the same link you got. Let's see. Grab the link. Hit copy. Hit X. And let's go back to the email. And where did he go? Is this Steve? Am I mailing the right person now? Oh, now I don't know if I'm mailing the damn right person or not.
So Steve,
so hit reply. Let me see. Which email is JOAT? Oh, that's him. Never mind. Okay, I'm sending him. I just sent him another one. And then, okay, that should have got to him. Christopher Collins.
But then I'm finished my story by the time the 2 hours is up.
No, take your time. We're apparently he should have the new link, so that shouldn't take too long.
Yeah.
No, John's a Mormon. He's got like 8 wives. Emily's just wife number 1.
Joe.
I'm telling you, she's got this electric whip. It's badass. I would not get on her bad side, people.
Joe.
All right. He's only got 11, but still.
Joe.
Oh, wait, it went up, didn't it? Sorry, it went the other way.
We were in Provo then at that conference there, and there we were both so busy we couldn't take the pictures of each other like we normally do because we both had full programming. I did about 50 one-on-one consultants, these 10-minute like rapid things consulting, like, almost like an Ask Me Anything. So I had 50 people that I went through over that over the course of 3 days. Emily did several panels. We had the thing with Scott Card. And then we had the final closing event, which was a banquet. And Emily was the Toastmaster. So she did the Toastmaster speech. She knocked it out of the park. She did really, you saw the picture of us afterwards, on my Facebook page. She did really, really well. She's all worried about it. And then I said,
Yeah, imagine knowing her. She was,
you just don't,
yeah.
She never does something that's not great. She is so good. So
no, Jean, she's a perfectionist. She can't help herself. Yes.
Yeah.
I tease her about it all the time, but that's just who she is.
Yeah. And she puts on the awards event. She's the producer for the Rising Future Awards Gala. And it's just the thing we're having every year is how to make the following year better. And that's a challenge.
That's a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a challenge. The events are all good. I've been to 7, 8 of them, 7, 8. I don't know. Anyway, 7 or 8. And I don't know. They're always well done. They're always well put together. No one's fell off the stage and done something stupid yet. So you can always. No, the very first year I went, somebody hit something behind the thing and made the curtain move. I thought he was going to have a damn heart attack. But other than that, no, she's a perfectionist. She, matter of fact, the very first time I ever really got to talk to her, she was coming in. I think it was a Wednesday night. She'd been working on it. It was like it was close to closing time because they were throwing us out of the lobby downstairs. And so it must have been around midnight or something. And we were sitting drinking a glass of wine when they asked us to get up and move. And that was actually the first time I'd ever had a real conversation with her. And I didn't want to keep her because I knew she was exhausted. She'd been nonstop all day. The first year I hardly seen her. She was just. Well, now I know her schedule. So when I want to chat with her, I know where she's going to be most of the time.
Apparently Steve's in now.
Yeah, Steve just popped in, but he's not connected yet. It says not connected. Steve, if you can hear me, you gotta connect your mic and your camera, or just your mic, either one, whatever you want to do. But you may have to come back out to do it. Sometimes it lets you do it in here. Marshall, we use StreamYard. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think we got him right there. Hold on. Let me add him in. Steve, can you hear us okay, babe? No, maybe, yeah, sort of.
Steve?
Yep.
We got a name. We got a name badge.
Since he must be turning everything on.
Anyway, Steve's been a judge for writers. Hey, Steve.
Oh, there he is. We got him now. I can't hear him now.
Okay, you're muted.
Good looking sucker, but I can't hear you.
I know how does he unmute? You go to your image at the bottom of the screen. There's a 3 dots and there's a microphone and there's 3 more vertical dots. The microphone, unmute it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there's John. Where's Steve? We had a boo-boo. We had a boo-boo.
Are you able to unmute him, Joe?
No, it doesn't show you muted on my end. It's got to be from either your physical mic's muted or
it's not plugged in.
Something's odd. I'm trying to think if you can walk through the settings on that end. Well, he's on the phone. I'll tell him when he comes back. Grace, what do you mean? Can you pay to be on the show? On this one? You can pay to be on any show, but on this one, like I told Jacqueline earlier, it's got to be like September, October. Other than that, we stay pretty much booked. And during the holidays, we just give away stuff. This year I gave away, I think it's a little less than usual. That's 1,600 books this year. No, I still got some left. I just, I don't know why we didn't give away as many lights. I got tied up with other stuff in life, so I didn't get to do as much as usual. No, we gave away only half the lightsabers we were allotted to give away. The guy was like, what happened? So we got Janine, they're giving him trouble in the UK about lightsabers. Yeah, don't ask me. The UK's losing its mind lately. I don't know what's going on over there. No, John was in Provo, and I was thinking about it the other day. For some reason, I know Provo for something else.
Well, that's the home of Brigham Young University.
It's been bugging me ever since I heard it a couple of weeks ago. No, you thinking about Art Bell? He's not from Provo. He was from I can't think of the name, but he was from somewhere else in Utah.
Yeah,
some little town. Heather Wade still lives there today.
But during those 2 weeks, I recorded 9 podcast interviews with
that's good.
amazing guests. And then I was given books or sent books for 13 more guests. So it was just, and one thing that was interesting too, that I saw, I was, because we had the People's Choice Podcast Awards, and I was like, what happened to it? And I didn't know. And what was being done, because the founder passed away a few weeks before the awards were supposed to come out. And I said, so what's the deal with this? And so then I found even more that really made it super bummed, because I was up for 3 categories: art, storytelling, drama, and entertainment. And there was a new thing set up. So this is then from I think chat. Said recent finalists and nominations. Before the disruption, the 2025 nomination phase had proceeded, with several podcasts reaching the top 10 or slate. Adam Curry People's Choice Award, which is the top award that they give. Top finalists included Coffee Convos Podcast, Writers and Illustrators of the Future, and Just Dumb Enough Podcast. So I was like, wow, I could have had a chance to win then the top award, the top honors on that podcast award. So, but it's good because we have definitely a lot of amazing guests.
So, I mean, is somebody going to take it over, or?
Well, that's what they're saying. They're trying to put together, the next team and get it rolling again.
I wonder if there's going to be some
2025, because they have like 500,000 people that vote in that contest.
Yes, plus Donnie, you have to pay to be in this contest, and per category. So there's a lot of people. We're talking about a lot of money. I mean, we're not talking millions, but we're talking a good chunk of money here. So they're gonna have to figure something out, or they're gonna be getting sued. Not from us, but no, people are stupid.
$50 per category, I think it was.
Yeah. I don't know. He was 50, then went up to 75, and then I think it went back to 50 because it hacked off a bunch of people. No, you have to pay for your trophy. Yeah. You can pick whichever one you want. I mean, you get the little tiny one, the big one, whatever you want. But I got a couple laying around here somewhere. John made me get them. They were runner-up thingies. Oh, God. Between the two of us, we got like 20 runners-up. It's ridiculous how many we got.
Carmen couldn't debug Steve, so he's going to work on rescheduling him.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Pernump, that's it. That's where Art Bell was from, and Heather Wade was from, and all the rest of the weirdos are from there. I never got out in Pernump. I drove through it one time. I was going somewhere else, and a friend said, we should stop this Art Bell's home. I'm like, no, we're not stopping. Guys, don't take this wrong if you live there. But town could have a little work done, okay? Believe me, I live in Mississippi. When I tell you a town needs to work, you should think about it. You really should. What do you mean? You mean out in LA? No, you mean have I had problems? But who? No. I'm scary, ugly. People leave me alone out there. They look at me, they know I'm not from LA. They can look at me and tell I'm not from there. And I'm not exactly a little bitty guy either. I'm 30 pounds littler than I used to be, but I still ain't a little guy by any means. I like LA. I've never had, even when I was stationed in the service, I never had any problems out there. We used to go out, we drive from San Diego. I think it was like 2-hour drive or 3-hour drive or something. We'd drive up and hang out. And yeah, I was stationed in San Diego. That's where I went to boot and to tech, part of tech anyway. Christopher, writerfutures.com if you want to submit a book, or I'll tell you, like Emily would tell you, you ought to go take the course.
Yeah.
Well, before you, okay, look, you can submit whatever you want, because you should submit to Writers of the Future. You got a chance, but for your own chances of winning, I would go take the course. And then after you took the course, I mean, it doesn't take you long. You can do it in a day or 2 or 3. After you take the course, then maybe go back and review the story you're going to put in to Writers of the Future. You might be able to enhance it a little bit. Maybe some stuff you didn't think about. What do you mean teachers? Oh, they got all kind of videos. I know Orson Scott Cards, and there's a 10 Powers is in there. I don't remember them all, but just 5 or 6 videos. Yeah, from famous authors. And then there's other stuff that goes on. And then you can get off of the message board, you can get help and stuff like that. Who are you talking about, Michael? The name, I never heard of that name. Who are you talking about? Oh, no, that's Wolf Moon. No, where'd you get that name from? Well, unless he got a name, maybe he's got a different name I don't know about, but he's always told me his name was Wolf. That's what we go by. Yeah, I know, Frank. It's nice to have Pal Talk open again. I know. I don't use it all the time because it's a pain in the you know what, but still. Wait, John just sent me something. What did I just do?
Okay, I just put a post in the that's a link to pre-order volume 42, which is at press right now. And that's what releases in April. And we're trying to get as many people to pre-order as possible. And so that's the link to it. You can go wherever you order books. We have a link for all the different stores, chains, online, pretty much everywhere around the world that you can go to and click wherever you want. Because I know we got people from all over the world here. So we've got lots of different options to pre-order. And then the end of April is when the book releases. So we highly recommend. And when you go to that, if you click on that link, you'll actually see what the cover looks like. It's an amazing, beautiful, beautiful cover. In fact, I'll send it to you, Joe. I'll email you the.
Okay. Frank, I put it in. I just put it in the comments. For some reason, Facebook seems to be having a little issue, but I mean, not Facebook, YouTube, but it went out to everybody else. I'll resubmit it again so it'll go out on YouTube too. And that way y'all have it. Spam, they're changing a bit. It ain't spam, stupid. So YouTube rejected your comment because they think it's spam.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a good thing we need YouTube. And we need them even less every day, thanks to Rumble. No, I like YouTube, Jennifer, but I mean, stuff like this, I mean, this is a legit link. So what's happening is AI looked at it because it's a big link and they're thinking, oh, it's a thing. But if someone would just take the time to click on it, they would know it wasn't.
I'm writing to Emily to send me a shorter link then.
Let me see what it does when I do it this way. What was that weird stuff? I'm not moving to China. Who told you that? China couldn't deal with me. They'd have to close their country down. Thanks to John, though, I met some interesting media people over there. I just talked to that Chinese lady the other day. Wait. I don't want to wait. Huh. This link giving me trouble. Let me know how it works for you. I just clicked it. I just took it out and put it on one of my pages, but for some reason something's giving me trouble anyway. I don't know what. It let me back with John. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Order a copy today. GalaxyPress.com. Ooh, I like this cover.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Let me find out where I am, and I will bring this up in the screen with us. Yeah. Add. Okay, Martha, this is see that here. This is the next version. This is book 41. This was last year. Okay. The one I'm getting ready to show y'all is book 42. Don't fall. Let's see. Where was I? Well, you just go over to Writers of the Future and oh no, StreamYard's got its issues, but you know, it's a pretty good system. There we go. Look at it up there. Let me scroll around now.
There you go. Yeah, that cover was painted by one of our judges, Cirillo. He lives in Spain, and he's flying out for the first time since pre-pandemic. So we're very excited about that. And what's really nice about this too is that Orson Scott Card, when we started with volume 30, when we switched over to doing trade paperbacks, we put a thing where we had illustrated judges paint covers. And then we got a writer judge. Here we go. This is the release video.
Okay. Yeah. You can hear it. Okay.
Can you open it up more?
I think I can. Let's click this. Okay.
There we
I
go.
should have grown. There we go. I like that cover.
Yeah. So Sorello made that cover art, and then we sent it to Orson Scott Card, and he wrote a story based on the cover art. So we've got an Orson Scott Card story in this volume 42, as well as that cover by Sorello, and then we have the 12 writer winners and then the companion art that was created for each of the winning stories.
Frank, you can just go to Galaxy Quest and get it right there.
Yeah, galaxypress.com. You can go there and order it. And if you just, because you can see it right on the top banner, you can see an image of it, and you just click on that, and you can order from Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, Indigo, Waterstones in UK. We got chain in South Africa. We've got Australia, all the various Amazons. So we've got it everywhere. And then if you specialize in indies, you want an indie, then we have a link that sends you to all the different independent bookstores that you can go there and pre-order your copy that way too.
So Frank, if you're looking at, is it still up on the screen?
No.
Hold on. Somebody had just asked me about this. Let me jump back over here. So you're going to see a list of people. Boom. These are all people that have been doing something with this book.
Yeah. Those are all the judges there.
Yeah. So let me get back to where I was now. Well, maybe it's going to let me go back to where I was. There we go. Okay. So you look over there, see stories selected by contest judges. Now, remember all these judges you see over here, which most of y'all will recognize their name as they're going. Mark Leslie was just on that too long ago. Everybody on here, I think, has been on. You see Orson in there. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, she's been on. I think everybody's. But anyway, these are the judges that get the stories. Okay, but they don't select stories. They just select the stories blind judged. So Jody and her people send them the stories. They read them. They like them. They go back. When did they find out who wrote them?
At the event.
Oh, at the event. Okay, yeah. No, the judges have no clue who wrote it. As far as I know, they get the story and a number.
Yeah, that's all they get. And then and it's interesting too, because when someone says, "Oh yeah, I wrote blah 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 story," you go, "Oh yeah, I had no idea who did it." So they have to say, "Oh, it was a story about this," and they go, "Oh yeah, that was a great story," because they don't know if it's male, female, nationality, ethnic, nothing. They just know that they wrote this story or they did that art. They don't know anything about the people. They just have the number and then the story.
Sorry, the alarm system went off. Hey, alarm, shut up. It's a neighbor did something stupid. No, so Riney, if you're looking at this, the left side, the first two columns are the judges.
Right.
Jody Lanai is the coordinating judge unless something's changed. That's for the authors. On the side over here, you see Echo Chernick. She's the coordinating judge for the illustrators. So that list you see, all those people you see on the right side are all, and I know you're going to recognize a lot of these names. This guy down here, Tom Wood, he's crazy, but he's insane. He makes it look insane.
Office in the United States.
Yes, if you put him and Dan together, they are trouble, man. Jesus. Good. I meant that in a good way, guys. Yeah, don't get crazy.
Yeah.
No, I've met almost everybody on both these lists. I haven't met any of them I don't like. All of them are pretty well balanced in what they're doing. No, I haven't seen one of them you couldn't ask a question to. Now, if you're a winner, I have not yet. Personally, I think some questions are dumb. I know I was always taught that there's no such thing as a dumb question, but I don't personally agree with that. But still, they're very patient, very nice. They go out of their way to make sure everybody's getting time. I watch these judges, and seriously, they go out of their way to make sure people are getting time. And I have seen them on multiple occasions. If walk over when there's a group just standing there staring. Usually, I'll go get them if I see them standing, but they'll get up and do it themselves. Shit, Kevin's taken them to lunch a few times. A couple of them have taken them.
Tim Powers always takes the class out to a restaurant, get pizza, whatever, at least one time. Sometimes Echo takes people over to In-N-Out to get burgers. You should join her, Joe, so you can't keep on moaning. I've never had an In-N-Out.
They keep telling about these burgers. They won't give me one. They're just teasing California. He's teasing. That's why everybody's moving out.
After the event, we buy usually at least 50 double doubles.
I know last year in a year I was going to snatch one, but then I felt bad that I might be snatching somebody's dinner that worked hard. Well, these guys, we were walking out the back last year, and they must have had a whole tent full of.
We have so much food. We buy like 40.
There was a ton of
50 double doubles, and
I wanted to taste them, but then I didn't know how many people were actually working and who bought for what, so I didn't want to take somebody's lunch or dinner, I should say. Well, no, they break it down that night, Chris. I guess because they have to.
Yeah.
It's a gala. The place does events. It's a nice place, and you'll see it. I mean, if anybody wants to see what the place looks like, you can go to either writersofthefuture.com online, or you can go over to any of our any of the websites we handle. YouTube, on YouTube, every event that I've attended, it's on YouTube. You can go watch them.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's been nicknamed the Oscars of science fiction and fantasy.
It is. Well, it feels like it's got a nice. But when you see it, there's a lot of important people. Not necessarily everybody's intelligent, but a lot of important people and a lot of good people. I've interacted with everybody in the crowds. Everybody's very friendly. Somebody was telling me this one lady was kind of snotty. I walked up. We talked for 25 minutes. She's very nice. I guess it's all in the way you approach people.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, when you do what I do, you can't. I mean, you can walk up and interrupt, but it's better if you don't. If there's already something going on, wait your turn. And that's why I get so many of the winners' families, because they attend. A lot of the families attend this gala event, and so a lot of times when we're all out hanging out before the gala, the press is there, and they're putting out hors d'oeuvres and little drinks and stuff, and people are chatting and talking, and a lot of the families there and the winners are kind of busy with the press, so the families are usually sitting out. There's like a little garden area out there, and they're usually sitting out there. So I'll walk around and talk to them. Or sometimes a couple of them wanted me to meet their parents. Don't ask me about it. I like it. It's a nice, so, I have signed books, and what I'll do is one book I'll bring with me and have anybody in the family that wants to sign it. So I have all the winners, all the judges, God knows what else is in there. One year, I think I even had the staff of the Roosevelt in there. And then I'll include the families. The books are very personal. So a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot. It's just like I said, everybody's happy. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
As far as the weather goes, one year was a little hot, one year's a little cool. It's usually pretty decent though, like mid-70s or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little chilly at LA at night, but I heard somebody pop in with us. But I enjoy it. Let me drop this down. Hold on. Let me get this off the screen right quick. Remove and add. Oh, who's this person?
All righty. Hey, Jen. Good to see you again.
Hi there. How you doing? Can you hear and see me okay?
Yes, you sound great. Look good.
Both at the same time.
Excellent. That's ideal.
It is.
That's preferable.
We were just talking about book 42 when you popped in. One day there'll be one back there so I can look at it.
Exactly. Well, come end of April, you'll have one for back there. But I was just in Colorado Springs with Jen at the Superstars Writing Conference. So that's where we met last year. And that's where I did it. Because I've been sent a book. I was introduced to you by Marie, and Kevin was so excited that you're coming for the first time because he'd been publishing you. So you came, and we did I read your first book in the, I know it was space opera. I forget the name of it right now, but remember I figured you were a botanist, the way you were all the different trees and vegetation and stuff that you're describing in there. So she's got to be a botanist. And then and then we did the interview and clarified you weren't a botanist, but you definitely are very knowledgeable in plants, and you're an actual doctor, and spend all your waking hours helping people, which is like way cool. So that's why I'm so excited to support you however we can.
Well, not all my waking hours. I spend a lot of my waking hours being ill and recovering from things from the military. And then
joy.
we try to the tagline, I guess for those who maybe don't know me, the tagline of our charity is funding real life hero projects imaginary heroes fund real life hero projects. So I write books, and then we try to use that to help support folks like buying medicines for indigenous people in the jungle, or like I have a buddy right now. Right? Yeah, that's in South America. That's where I work half the year. And then, but I have folks in other countries too. I have a good friend in Liberia who's a war survivor, who she runs an orphanage that we work with there. And then I have a buddy who's on the run from, initially it was a corrupt human, it was a human trafficking ring that he then accidentally found out in his home country was being supported and funded by his home government. And
not surprising.
Then had to flee. So my last year was mostly trying to help him flee around to different countries so we could try to get him out. We finally have him in a country that's kind of safe. But while he's been doing that, he's actually been investigating little orphanages and stuff for us, because sometimes people will ask for aid and they're really using kids to get aid and attention and things like that. And so he goes around, investigates stuff for us, and helps people out who need help. And we're working on an anti-slavery project in Pakistan, which is a little confusing. So we're doing things all over the world, but the idea is I write a story, and then other folks help out, and then we use that money to fund people on the ground. My on the ground project is bringing meds to indigenous folks in Paraguay, and making bad people angry. We've people open up to you about things when you're their medical provider, and there's a lot of sexual abuse in some of those communities. So we've found ourselves getting in some of those situations. I've gone through the woods to try to track down somebody who had assaulted somebody so that we could stop them, and things like that. Year before last, we managed to get 2 guys arrested. This last year, I couldn't get this guy arrested, but we got him to flee the country and run away to Brazil because he was so scared of us coming after him. So we do good stuff, but I wouldn't say every waking hour, because a lot of what I'm doing is being ill, like today, and then trying to recover.
Okay, well, you're a good person. So
what part of the military were you in?
I was a battalion surgeon, so I was I was a sexual assault. Job. Yeah, and I was a sexual assault medical forensic examiner. And that was in the Army, obviously.
Yeah, I had some friends of mine that was pretty much the same job, but they were in one was in Iraq, and then one was later on. It's but I'll tell you what we do. There's a couple of groups I work with. We give out a lot of airtime to people doing stuff like what you're doing. We give out a lot of airtime, and we give out the kind of time where, we can arrange something for somebody, set up, because this setup we got right now, anywhere in the world, we can talk to anybody. If they've got a cell phone or a connection of any kind, we can talk to them. Doesn't matter. You can be in the middle of the jungle. As long as that damn thing's got a cell phone connection, we can talk to you. And we can see you, which is nice. So we usually do, last year, I think we did about 600 hours worth of audible. We usually give people like you about 100 hours a year, and say, okay, it's your time to use. Just let us know, and we'll set the system up and show you how it works. Once we show you how the system works, you don't even have to have us unless you just want a trained host there. And then one of us will volunteer the host for you. You just give us what you want asked. We do it because, I've had a lot of friends in a lot of different stuff over the years, and we've been involved in a lot of stuff. And really, I hate to say it like this, but the planet just needs help. It needs helping hands everywhere. I really think if everybody would take that attitude, things would change a little bit faster. And a matter of fact, we had stuff going on in the Ukraine this past year. Almost 300 hours of time we used in the Ukraine this year.
Wow.
What they were doing is they were using the network to put out information. So they had, can't remember his name. I can't say his name. I can remember his name. I just can't say it. He got, Elon Musk Starlink to supply them the internet for this, and we supplied them the airtime. So
Wow.
not only could they go on, but see the way the network set up is my shows can still broadcast live, and you can broadcast on the side of them. So they see both shows.
Wow.
So when they're looking for you, they can come right in and say, okay, here she is. I can pop in, and it's set up like this. Most of the time it's free. But if you're looking to do like a donation set, we can actually put it on Roku television and do it through pay for listen.
Wow.
And
That's
so
pretty
we give
cool.
that, yeah, we give that auction, and people seeing you on television is a whole different. A friend of mine was telling me about it. He says, we were doing radio and YouTube, and everybody's like, I'll give you some money. He said, man, you put me on television, and the money just started pouring in.
Wow.
He said it made it legit. They could watch me on their 70-inch TV, even though we were broadcasting over the internet. That's the way it works, my friend.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah, but yeah, just let me know. John knows how to get hold to me. So
Yeah.
if you ever find yourself that you just need some airtime, or you need to get a message out, or if you just want to make a professional video that you can give to people, you can do it. You can leave it on our site. You can put it on your site. So any material you make on the network, you just do whatever you want with.
That's
There'll
cool.
always be a backup copy somewhere in our archive system, just so there's a backup. But other than that, it's yours to do whatever you want. And we do that. It's just our way of trying to help out. I used to give money, but I found most places I gave money to, it frankly never got to where it was supposed to be going. Well,
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. Most of it didn't get to where it was supposed to be going. So,
That's a real problem.
yes. And
Yeah.
being that I'm a first responder and I've worked many hurricanes and fires over the years, we just try to help. A friend of mine said, I'm trying to buy myself into heaven. I said, no, too late for that.
Weren't you special forces too, if I remember from
Yes,
our last conversation?
I had a really weird career. I had that, and then they snatched me, and I had fixed something for a captain one day on an airplane, and it was a missile that wouldn't fire, and I fixed it in 5 minutes, and he was like, "What?" And then the conning tower was having problems with one of its really high-end advanced radar systems. I couldn't get it to work right. So I went in there. It took me about 8 minutes to fix it. And I still remember the first officer looking at me like, I can't say what he said, but he cussed. He said, "Joe, there's no way you fixed it." I said, "It's fixed." And he turned it on. It's going. I started punching on, kicking. I said, "Just." And the guy's like, and you could shake it, it would go off. I'm thinking, this is an aircraft carrier. You know how much this piece of equipment costs? We're talking $80 million here. And I said, how long has this thing been acting like this? A good thing we ain't at war. Y'all all be dead. And so then he goes, I want to know what it is. I said, really? You're going to get mad when you find out. I said, turn it off, because there's a radar. So I turned it all off, popped the side panel off. I said, give me a hand. I said, fire this wire down. You're going to find a junction right. He said, yeah, that's what it was. I said, there was a little nick in the wire. I said, every time you hit a big wave, it would push the thing over. It would hit the metal and short the system out for 30 minutes until it could reset. I said, if you got a missile coming at you, your system just shorted, you're dead.
You don't have 30 minutes to reset.
So that was the second thing I fixed for him in no time at all. He said, you have a really good understanding of electronics. I said, yeah. So he went to the captain, brought me out of being enlisted into being an officer, and then told my captain, SP, that you can't have him back. I actually told the lieutenant. The lieutenant went to the captain, and the captain said, you can't have him back. He's ours now. And he said, I knew I shouldn't have sent you on a blankety-blanket ship, because we were between duties.
That was the Nimitz, right?
I was on the Nimitz, and we were between duties, so that's where they sent me until that was actually my original MOS was to be in advanced avionics and electronics. It's just while I was in boot camp, I scored out on some things that they were had really good leadership abilities they liked. And my commander said I was fearless. She said, do you know you could die, right? I said, yeah, but I won't know that until I'm dead, right? He's like, I like you already, man. But yeah, it's anything you can to give back to help. I mean, I almost thought about going to New York, but we were really busy. My company had just got really busy from 2 different hurricanes, so I was kind of stuck, but I really wanted to go. Now I'm glad I didn't, because half the people I know went up there died or on the way to dying. So that's another horrible nightmare. And when you because you've been in, but people don't realize how much stuff you get exposed to. Well, first off, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't notice, when you join the military, you sign this little thing, and if you go back and read it, it says they can experiment on you. They can give you medicines that haven't been tried. They can do all kind of stuff. I wanted out after I read that, but once you sign it, you're kind of stuck. I didn't know it. When I went back and read it, there's some serious stuff in there they can do, and you can be exposed to stuff. Marsha, they exposed a whole platoon to radiation after World War II. Yes, just to see what it would do to them. They gave a whole town a disease to see what it would do to them, and they gave the American Indians chicken pox through blankets. Yes, don't ever think our government isn't above doing bad things, because they unfortunately are not.
Yeah, well, there's always a lot of corruption, and a lot of times it's about whatever you can look best for the next guy's OER for his career piece of paper, right? So if it's gonna look good on his OER, he's gonna do it, even if it's gonna.
What's OER mean?
What does the acronym stand for? It's the little piece of paper that the officer wants to fill out that says all the good things that he's done, so that his boss above him is like, oh yeah, you did great stuff, let me promote you and give you more money. And so if you're, the cap, that's the OER, officers something report.
Yeah, I can't remember that so long.
It's important for career stuff, and you have to have so many bullet points about things that you've changed. And it does feel sometimes that a lot of times leadership is more concerned about what's going to advance their career than what's going to help the next.
That's very true too. Yeah, I was lucky. In fact, I was there to have fun and to learn something new. That's the whole reason I went. I was my dad had just died when I was 16, so I wanted out. I just wanted to be somewhere other than that, and so I did. And then while I got there, I got, I can't help myself. I'm anal retentive, and I just can't do anything. I have to do multiple things at one time. So that's one of the reasons they like me. Yeah, I got in boot camp. I got put in charge of the fat squad because I was running too much. I'm like, excuse me. He said, that's 2 days in a row you broke formation and went and ran an extra 2 miles. So guess what? You see them boys over there can't make it? If they don't pass, you don't pass. I was like, what? I said, you're kidding, right? He said, nope. I'm like, this guy's 3 times my size. There's no way he's going to make it. He's like, Joe, it's your head.
They did a little trick like that when I was trying out for my EFMB, which unfortunately I didn't get. I pissed off a lot of people when I was doing my EFMB, but something I was very, very proud of. And EFMB is Expert Field Medical Badge. Mm-hmm. I was doing, for those who don't know, I was doing mine in Korea, where we were training in a swamp in this wooded mountain where they have banana spiders that are like this big, and it's at night, and you're not allowed to use a flashlight. And they tell us, before we go out, that if you, first of all, they tell us you're not allowed to use flashlights. So just accept the fact that banana spiders the size of your face, they're just going to be on you. That's fine. That's just what's going to happen. Then the guy says, and there's hornets here. You need to be careful of the areas you walk into, because there's hornets here that'll kill you after 15 stings. I'm like, so what? After 14, you're fine, or how does that work?
Love story.
We had a guy who almost drowned in a pit of feces, actually, because of the way that it's impossible to see stuff, and he was being weighed down by his gun and everything else like that, because we can't see in the dark. And they had told us before we were sent out, by the way, if you step on any Korean graves, we're not going to stick up for you. It's a violation of the SOFA agreement, and you're going to go to jail. I said, well, what if I can't see the graves because it's dark at night? So we're, it's like, what am I really worried about? Am I more worried about going to jail? Or it's Friday the 13th under a full moon, and I'm walking on all these, walking over possible Korean grave sites. So there was a lot of it. That was really, exciting training. But at the beginning of that training, they around that same time when I was doing EFMB, we did our spur ride, which is a tradition for the cavalry units, where you are supposed to have 24 hours of a very difficult time. It used to be that they rode you until my boss, one of my superiors almost died on his, because he got such bad hypothermia. But basically they for mine, we just marched, for special forces, it's nothing. We were 35 miles marching, with, push-ups and things in between, and then we had to repair stuff in between, and then we had an explosions exercise, and we had to crawl through at the end of the day, we were real tired. It's been 24 hours. We've done our 30, everyone all the guys I was in charge of a group of, I was the leader with a group of 5 guys and my little squad that I was assigned to, and they were all bleeding by the end of the march because of all the friction of walking, right? My thighs actually didn't heal for weeks because of the bleeding, but they had different kind of bleeding, right? Different anatomy. So it's a very uncomfortable situation after that time. But we had one guy who was he was a little bit overweight and a lot smaller than the other guys. And we were at the beginning of the day when they got us up in the morning to do the PT test and they had us run. This guy had put on the wrong boot. He put on his boots and not his. I don't know what happened, but he ended up doing his run, his PT in boots instead of in shoes. And so this like little fat overweight guy, he was really, really tired already at the beginning of the day, before anything had started. And we started to notice. We were one of the groups that noticed fairly early on, because once you finish the 2-mile run, they kept telling us to go back and keep going. Yeah. And our group was able to notice, oh, we need to make sure everybody comes in at the same time. Yeah. That's why they're sending us back out. So the rest of the day was like trying to make sure to bring this guy along and make sure that he made it and he didn't like get heat exhaustion or something like that. But we had other problems in that there were other people who were behind in other ways, because we were also supposed to memorize these creeds and historical facts and stuff by the end of the day. It became clear by the end of the day that most of our guys who were really strong and fast were not going to be intellectually savvy enough to memorize these things, even though we were drilling the whole time while we were marching. It's like, okay, can you tell me this historical fact? Can you do this poem? So we did at the end of the day so that we would leave no one behind. First off, when they asked us our questions at the end of the day, some of us, we were actually able to pass answers to each other somehow without them noticing at one point, so that some of our guys could answer. But at the end, I knew we weren't going to be able to do the poem. So the plan was, when they ask us to recite this creed that we have to recite, we're just all going to get in the front leaning rest position and we're just going to do push-ups until they tell us to stop. Yeah. They were so impressed by that, because it was like, we're a whole group, we're the unit, we're in sync. That's what we're going to be doing.
That's exactly what they want to see. They want to see working as a team. That's it. Yeah, you get more trouble for not working as a team than my first time I ever got in real trouble in boot camp was because I was out jogging. See, my first time running, I ran a quarter mile and fell over in the grass. Like, Jesus Christ, man. How to shape them. And I was in good shape and I still did. I was like, it took me about 3 weeks where I could get up to run 2.5 miles, 3 miles. And, but I kept leaving people behind and I got in trouble for it. And then I got in trouble for that a couple of times. I got put in charge of scullery because of that. Yeah, nothing like being in pot and pans for a week and a half. This is retarded is what it was. No, it doesn't matter what branch of service you're in, Chris. There's basic things you're going to find in all branches. And all of us they all want to see you work as a team, whether you're enlisted, officers, they don't really care. They just need to know when the shit hits the fan that you're going to be there to back this other person up. No matter what kind of shape. No, that's what they expect. They just expect it. What do you mean, Mike? No, so when I was in boot camp, the only restriction they put on females when I was there was they had to carry a backpack of at least 50 pounds. It's not required that you're strong enough to tote out a 250-pound guy out of the woods, because most guys can't do that. I noticed when I was in boot, most of the guys that were under 160, there was no way they were toting anybody bigger. Not for any long distances. You know,
although we were a medical unit, so we had to like that was one of the things that they were training on, is that we had to figure out how do we move the 250-pound mannequin guy in the mud that's this thick and under the barbed wire. And you know, I was complaining at the end of one of the exercises that while the explosion sounds and everything was going off, it was like, we didn't stabilize his C-spine, like trying to drag this thing. But my sergeant was like, yeah, but in combat, this is how it actually is. You if you can move him, you move him whatever way you can.
Yeah, we ended up making a sled thing to get people out. But there wasn't nothing wrong with them, but they you know. So what we did was, you know how I learned that? From shooting deer when I was a kid in the woods. That's how we used to get them out the woods. We'd get two and run them across and then cut the bottom on an angle so it would slide. And two of us would, and deer's like 400 pounds. So it works great. My commander's like, where did you learn that at? I said, it's called hunting. Matter of fact, it's got me in big trouble. They dropped me off for 2 weeks in the swamp and I gained 7 pounds, 6 pounds, 7 pounds.
Wow.
So about halfway through it, a couple of guys that caught up with me, I was cooking. I killed a little deer, a little hog about this big. And I was out there cooking, and he's like, "Where'd you get that from?" I said, "I killed it with a spear." He's like, so then I taught him how to go find shallots and all kinds of stuff, because I was raised in the bayou. My grandpa taught me all this stuff when I was a kid, so it was second nature to me. But that's a difference between, having a raising that allows you to learn both. I mean, part of me was raised in the city, and the other part was raised in the bayou. So we learned how to hunt and fish. I know which shrooms you can eat that taste good, that won't kill you. It actually tastes really good. I can show you how to catch crabs or crawfish. Matter of fact, when they came up, I had 2 blue crabs and a pot full of crawfish, a little bowl thing I made for crawfish. He's like, "What the hell?" I still remember PJ is from Boston. He's like, "I am never leaving your side, ever. Ever." He said, "If we get in combat, I'm going to be with you no matter what." He said, "I know you're going to survive." I shouldn't say it was fun, but in a way it was. It was weird, horrible.
Well, isn't it that sometimes some of those worst times of your life are also some of the best?
It is. Prison
right.
of War was like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You come teach for the Wilderness Medicine Society sometime, because they really appreciate a lot of those very
because there's a lot. Things. Well, you learn so much different stuff. Matter of fact, I was out. We were somewhere, and I think it was out on the East Coast somewhere, and I seen a wild cherry tree. And I was over there picking cherries. And I come in. They said, "You're eating that?" And I'm popping them in my mouth. I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "This is cherries." I said, "I make cherry bounce out of this." And he's like, "Cherry bounce?" I said, "Yeah. Let me squish them up real good. Put about 4 cups of sugar and stick in a dark closet. In 3 weeks, it'll be 108 proof." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "How you?" I said, "Dude, I learned a lot of things when I was young. I got a brain that's like not so much now because I'm getting old, but my brain's always been like a sponge. I like learning new things. That's why I like meeting people like you and John. It just helps my brain to go. And anybody who wants to go out there and get into the service and get into the shit, that's an extra point. I mean, it a friend of mine asked me, "Why'd you do it?" And I probably did it for the wrong reasons, but still I did it. But half my friends never served. Never will serve. Don't want to serve. Don't want to be around the military. I can't even say some of the stuff they say about the military. I but and then there's exposure problems. I had some friends who were stationed in out near Area 51 that got exposed to some kind of oil with radiation. They were moving 55-gallon drums. All 5 of them got cancer.
Yeah.
Killed 3 of them. 2 of them survived, but killed 3 of them. I was like, and eventually the Navy paid up. But in the beginning, nobody could believe it. He's like, "Well, what do you mean there's a Navy base in the middle of Nevada?" Well, guess what? There is. It's a big one, too. There's no water, people, but it's a big base. It's like Middleton, Tennessee, where I was stationed for tech. It's in the middle of the woods. There ain't no water around. Yeah, people, the Navy's tricky like that. They don't always have to be in the water. That's why they have this thing called
the Authors Quill.
You'll get us back on track.
Exactly. I say, okay, good. These guys are having too much fun. So, okay, so now I'm going to jump in there. So Jen sent me 2 books, which I've not read yet, but are these out already? The God of Beauty and God of Murder? Which is first? What's the second?
God of Murder just came out 2 weeks ago. And God of Beauty is coming out in, I sent that to you as an advance. So
yeah,
that's just for you. Just for you guys, because that'll be out in I think end of March. I think it's March 30th, actually, exactly. So it gives you a little time to look at it.
So can I read it? Because I need to work out because I ended up with 13 books to read as a result of Superstars and LTUE. So on this one here, so on God of Beauty is when it's coming out. So can I read that and be fine with that, or I need to read the God of Murder first?
That's a good question. I really work hard to try to make sure that books can be picked up as standalone. I explain and re-explain stuff a lot also because I tend to be very imaginary technical. So things will often come up. I have this one character who's so just background for listening. The Ruin of the Gods series is about a group of D&D style adventurers who take on the quote unquote gods of their world and then discover that they actually live in a science fiction. They discover that the people that they've considered like gods and that they've worshipped and they've been trying to escape their whole lives live up in a space station and it's basically their life of medieval technology now meeting hyper futuristic technology. And of course they think that those people are gods, and those people are taking advantage of the people on the planet and using people on the planet to fuel these like wild powers and things like that. And so there's a lot of fun like biomech sci-fi. So the cover of God of Murder is a medieval fantasy adventure taking on a giant mechanical like mecha T-Rex. But I have this one character, his name is Alwyn, and he is just a consummate gentleman, consummate adventurer, but he loves to get into the nerdy little weeds of every possible magic thing, which of course magic is now science. So he's becoming really excited about things like, network penetration. And, he's just discovered that the earth is not flat. And he's now really excited about, a world where there's teleportation. He's just, they're just discovering what antibiotics are that the people up on the space station have had forever. And so he's getting really excited about like longevity serums and jellyfish and things like that. So there's a lot of both biomedical, speculative science, very speculative, right? This isn't hard science fiction by any means, but there's a lot of time spent imagining. And because of that, I try to restate things often, because otherwise it can really get down into I think it could be too confusing. But each one is supposed to be a standalone, because each one is supposed to be taking on a different god. God of Murder is obviously taking on a pretty obvious god.
God of crows.
Right.
That's what a group of crows is called, a murder.
Yeah, kind of like that. That's and don't ravens have a cool name too?
Yeah, they do. I can't think of it. I know, but they do. For some reason, it's not coming to me.
They have another like violent name too.
Yes.
A murder of crows and a like haunting of ravens or something like
that. It's strange like that. I think they did it on purpose, because both of them are such dark. But they're both, for the most part, they're both supposed to be mostly bearer of good stuff. Occasionally, it's bad, but I don't know. I like stories like that, though. See, that sounds like me. I got science is just, I geek out. I didn't realize I was geek until after I got out of the Navy. And a friend of mine was talking to me. He says, "Joe, I thought you were cool, man." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're a geek, man." He said, "You're a nerd and a geek." I'm like, "No, what?" I said, "Dude, you realize I'm 225 pounds, kick your ass all over town, right?" I said, he's like, "But you are." I'm like, "Shut up. I don't want to hear that." But
that's kind of what I want to capture in this character, is that like this character's good at he's a skilled combatant. He knows how to do his things, but he has his fascinations, and then he also has his social struggles. He's a guy who really like when he gets nervous, he can't stop talking, and he's to talk and gets into like a spiral. I did neurodivergence in a lot of the characters different ways. I think this is the only stories I've seen like this where a main character has trisomy 21 or Down syndrome, and like trying to address what the lives of the people around her are like as caretakers. I grew up with so my siblings were almost always in some kind of danger because of health problems, and then also two of them were severely handicapped, and so two of my brothers and I are working on a video game in this world, and one of them was like, we really want to include real life things about what it's like to take care of someone with Down syndrome. So we have stuff like that where like they have to figure out what to do about like when she gets incessant cravings, and she has to figure out like, while the rest of them are dealing with things like, incessant desire for power or revenge, she's dealing with incessant desire for food that she can't stop eating that'll make her stomach explode. But for her, that's just as real and meaningful a temptation as the guy who is deciding whether or not he should try to take over the world to save his friend. They're matters of scope, but they're both meaningful. And she actually gets mad at someone at one point who thinks that her struggle's kind of funny because it is for somebody who's not in her situation. She's, no, that's, my bad thing that I'm dealing with. And so there's like parallels with what it's like to be living intellectually. She's intellectually disadvantaged, but emotionally more adept than some of the other folks. There's the main male character is in a relationship with a woman with pretty severe, like she's high functioning on the autistic spectrum, but severe agoraphobia. And so nobody actually knows his wife is like imaginary because she lives away in a little hidden place, and he's like the only person that she ever interacts with. So little things like that, just to try to, and then we have somebody else who has a trauma past. So it puts it, we want to gather real people, and like, Joe, you're a real person. You have you have your military history adventures, but then you also have your geeky part. And so when I try to do characters, I try not to make them stereotypes. Basically, I try to make them complete people.
I appreciate stuff like
Books are available on Amazon and where else?
So this publisher does, this is with CKP, Chris Kennedy Publishing, and they do Kindle only, Kindle exclusive, which is not something I had experience with before. So you have to do
on Amazon. Chris Kennedy is an amazing guy. So you're in good hands with Chris. He's definitely a swell person.
I was really honored, and that I had never been in a situation where I had been the cool person in the room ever. I was always the odd person out throughout my military time, and even got in trouble for things that I didn't do, and that was very unfair. But at Superstars that last year, it was wild having Chris and then another editor, I'd never been in a position where somebody was interested in what I had to offer.
Was that editor, was that Joshua or Lisa, or who was it?
No, we'll see because I also got another publishing deal, but we'll see when I don't want to jinx it. So that's military science fiction that hopefully will be coming out soon, but I don't want to say anything until a contract is signed. But we've been working together for about a year on an existing IP, and that's apparently the editor told me, while I got an email from the editor who he said, and I think he's prior military too, but he said like he cried 3 times or several times while like going over while editing the book, and not because of spelling mistakes or anything like that, apparently because the book was good. So that'll be coming out too, and that's very focused on military tragedy and how do you deal with the inability to solve past problems in an atmosphere of corruption. But that's a separate thing. But Chris was really cool, and it was cool that him and this other editor being actively interested in what I was doing. I'd never been in a room like that where like, wow, I was the cool person. So Superstars last year was it was a good experience.
That was good. I mean, Kevin and Rebecca were so thrilled that you were there. I'm trying to remember, and I realized if I find it, and then because there's another, Kevin Eikenberry. He's also military and writes really good military fiction and publishes and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's the person you're talking about, but he's another really cool dude.
It's amazing how many military people I've met that are good authors. Or good authors and using it for therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an excellent thing.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you can use it.
I mean, last year when I met you, Jen, I also met let's see, where do we go here? Zach Diamante. He also writes. Zach, he was there last year as well, and he's been a guest on this show too, Joe.
Well, I know Zach's pretty good. I've talked to him a few times over the years.
Yeah, and so he wrote.
It was like cozy military sci-fi or something like that, right?
Well, Sean Hazlitt is host on today. Matter of fact, he's on later today. He's ex-military too. He was a tanker. He drove for tanks.
Yeah,
he got his PhD after. But...
Yeah, he was a winner about 10 years ago or so in Rise of the Future.
Yeah.
Did you ever enter Rise of the Future, Jen?
I did. I was actually honorable. I was honorable mentioned three times. But then I pro'd out before I could actually get into the.
Well, that's a good thing, no?
Kevin Anderson and Rob Sawyer and Brandon Sanderson and several others who are famous. Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, several other famous authors entered, got honorable mentions, and they pro'd out. So.
So they didn't get in either.
No, they didn't win.
Well, that's nice.
You with the big dogs, girl. What you mean? You with the big dogs.
Yeah, that was one that I really wanted to get in for a really long time. But
honorable mention is that I'm actually, and the editors and publishers know this too. It's an honorable mention in the top 10 percentile of new voices. So it automatically says, okay, watch out for this person. You know, they've got, they're up and coming. And then you go honorable mention, silver honorable mention, finalist, semifinalist, and winner. But a lot of people don't make it past honorable mention when they pro out. I see a press release every 1 or 2 weeks where they say, yeah, I also won. They didn't, it's not a reject. They won honorable mention is what they put in their press releases. One honorable mention in Rise to the Future. One famous UK comedian from Malawi and in Africa had up on his wall when he got honorable mention. He put it on his wall for years because it was the first indication that he could actually write, because he wanted to be a writer. And he's hilarious. He's super funny. He was a finalist, a runner-up in Britain's Got Talent, but he's doing amazingly well there in the UK, and he's traveled the US a couple times.
What's his name?
Let's see. I will.
Well, I can actually probably find him, but that's cool.
They're looking for that, guys. Remember, if you're a geek or a nerd, look at us, and there's hope. Yeah.
Delisa Chapanda. If you Google him on just on YouTube, you'll see his stand-up routines are just the first one that he got the buzzer, golden buzzer. They just fell out of the chairs. He was so funny, and some of his skits that he did there, were just, it was hilarious. It was so unexpected what he said and how he did it. His delivery was just brilliant. But he was, so he was also an honorable mention in Writers of the Future, and that's what gave him the courage to go on, that he could write. That he was writing his own comedy. But also that bottom link there, Joe, that bit.ly link with 42 outlets, that'll get you there. I'm sure that's not going to get bumped by AI.
Yeah, I went through no problem. Yeah, it's already on YouTube. So John said that. So we just posted a link so y'all can get book 42. Well, you got to pre-order. It's not available yet, but
that's a pre-order. But please do, because we've got this year is the year that 42, which obviously is the answer to the life universe and everything. And we break 1,000 writers and artists being published in Rise of the Future this year,
serious stuff,
which is an amazing milestone.
Congratulations!
But thank you. When what we like to have though is just to really pack up the pre-orders, so that when the book releases, all those orders release. And we've got another 24 writers and artists are now national best-selling authors, because we'll get the best science fiction, the best fantasy, best anthology on Amazon, which was a very legitimate list. And then because we're like 65% of the book sales are on Amazon now. And then we also have, you can go in there because you bought it and get the book now, and you can place your review, and then Amazon will go in there and continue to support a book if it's getting sales and reviews. So if you order the book, and I can absolutely promise you that you're going to find something you enjoy in every book. We always have that,
So
Joe was made a believer.
I can show both of y'all a cheat for Amazon. So right now, my Alexa tells me every day when I post new archives, new podcasts, regardless what host it is. If you go in there right now and say United Public Radio, it'll come up with all the archives available. So what you do is you make a podcast about your books and your writing, and you put it on Amazon. And that when people do a search, it'll come up first, because they always put their podcast ahead of everything else, because that's where their money is. And because remember, for them, their books and all, they share blank and all. With podcasts, it's a different type of way they get their cash. So it always comes up, and it comes up on all Alexas. So you can search for your book on your podcast. You may find an Alexa, probably not. But if you have it on the podcast and you say it in front of Alexa, it will come up and tell you that the podcast is in, and then it will tell you where to find the book in multiple locations. I did it for another friend of mine. It's a great feature. I didn't even know they had. I found out by accident just a couple of weeks ago.
So you mean like a podcast episode about the specific book?
Yeah, or you could do it about a specific book, or you could just do it about yourself, and that you have these books out and available right now. And you could say, well, they're available on Amazon, they're available on Barnes & Noble, wherever. And that way, when someone does a search on you, it'll come up. You won't have to be a multiple search. The podcast will come up, will talk about you. It'll show you everything in it. And then you can list your work, what you want. And then when you want to do specific books, you just do a short tape, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It could even be 10 minutes. Post it to the archive link, And when somebody goes up to Alexa and says podcast and they use your name, it'll come right up. And I mean, it will come right up, and they can listen to you, and you can even give a little cheat on your stories. And bam, it makes you more searchable. It makes people more interested because they get more than just the cover of the book. They get you. They get
That's
you tell them a little bit about the book. And more people are more apt to buy, not just books, anything for that matter. Amazon.
Is that just through the normal, like Amazon? I'm in the Amazon podcast program for like an old superhero series that I did. But
so if you have to have Alexa, you have to have operating Alexa in your house.
and
then you go in, and if you don't, I probably got like 5 of them laying around. I destroy them every so often. I told Alexa the other day if she didn't learn how to speak correctly, I was going to get Siri and throw her on my damn bayou so the alligator could eat her.
what?
That's what I told her. And she's like, well, I'm not in a physical body. I said, well, it's going to eat your device. How's that? She's sassy, and she talks back. I wrote him a thing to Amazon. I said, I want my old Alexa back. This thing's a pain in the ass.
You're gonna be in trouble when the robots rise up.
I know.
They're gonna be mad at you. They're gonna say, "Why were you were disrespectful to your?"
Oh God, you should hear some of the things I tell Alexa. Oh,
my great grandmother said, "Watch out for Joe," and so I'm watching out for Joe.
That's right. You gotta be careful.
That's the new breed robot. Yes.
So no, Donnie. What I said earlier was, no, I was a geek at heart. I was a little fat geek kid when I was young. I was sci-fi'd out, and then I hit teenage and I thinned down. And then when I went in the military and came out, the first time all my friends and ex-girlfriends and all see me, I was like, wow, it's a whole different guy. I mean, first off, my hair was short. I was muscles everywhere. I was 195 pounds, just solid muscle. And I had a whole entirely different attitude. I'd actually experienced life. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend when I came home because she felt like a child to me. That's the only way I could say it. That was 4 years of my life because when I came home, she really felt like a kid. I'd been dating Marine girls and stuff. And girls in the military are different. They just have a different attitude. And I notice even when they come home, part of that attitude tends to stay useful, I guess is a good way of saying it. Unfortunately, people, there are some good points about the military, and you can learn some good habits. It's just our government sometimes is, you know what they used to tell us? They had this
the new scene with the new, the Department of War. I'm hopeful that's made some change in making more.
Oh, they do some because
more accountability, but Jen just made a face, so maybe not.
Well, because right now, and I'm gonna say this bluntly, right now we're considered expendable. So one of the first things they told us is if we get stuck out at sea in one of the rafts or something, they have this stuff called PK foam. It's what you use to put out fires. It's a protein foam. Well, they tell you can eat it and it'll keep you alive, and it will. It's pure protein. It'll keep you alive. Problem is, if you eat too much of it, it'll kill you. It'll cause cancer and kill you. They never bothered telling anybody that, and they were having people eat on this stuff to get them used to it for years. Oh, it's like the gas chamber. Everybody in the service has to go in the gas chamber. Everybody.
I actually loved the gas chamber.
Because if you know what you're doing,
Because it was just kind of invigorating, honestly. Now we because you got to kind of see what people really like.
You do.
Because we had to. I know you guys probably had to do push-ups in yours. We had to take our mask off and say things with the mask off.
Yeah, well, that's all we had to do. For that, that's all we had to do is recite a general order. Is what it was.
Some people I've heard, like when my dad was in, they made him do like exercise in there, which is really not good for your lungs.
No, it's not.
It was interesting to see who panicked. And
do.
like I got stuck in the door because the guy who stole my towels also, I'm not particularly impressed with this service member, but he panicked, and is a guy like twice my size, and he was in such a hurry to get out of there that he like squished me in the door to try to get out.
You're lucky he didn't have my command. They'd have left him in there for another 10 minutes.
because just like panicking. So it's interesting to see that versus seeing like what you could handle and see like, okay, like there was a guy who was prior service who was a mega jerk, and was always picking on me the entire time. But watching him in the gas chamber, it was like, he's the one who like right after like knows how to wash out everybody's eyes and is like taking care of the people. So it's like, this guy's a jerk and I don't like him, but he's also the one I would rather have with me in an actual fight situation, not this other dude who steals towels and runs into people. you can kind of see who people are.
Yeah, you did. You get to see him. Oh, I told my commander. I said, why don't y'all clean these things before you give them to us? Oh, that's part of because as soon as you put them on, your eyes start tearing because it's leftover residual from some other force. I still remember it was sitting there. He said, and he gave me the damn long order. I read it out, put my mask back on, and he said, Joe, I was the second one to read. He said, now I'm gonna tell y'all, anybody who misses it, we start all over. And I'm like, so I looked at everybody. I pulled my mask up. I said, if I got to do this again, know somebody's getting an ass whooping. Just know what's going on before we even get out of here. But everybody made it through. Mostly, the only place I seen people get in trouble was on the firefighting course because you had to go through a house on fire. You had to get on your belly and crawl through the whole place, and no mask, no nothing. And too many of the guys would take their T-shirt, pull it over their nose. First thing the instructor did when you came out was grab your shirt. If it was, back in you go. At least they didn't make the whole company go. That was a plus. One guy let go of the fire thing, put 3 of us in the hospital, cracked my damn knee, split it. 3 weeks getting it to heal up. He just let go. You can't let go of a hose with that much pressure.
They didn't have us do anything like that because I guess I was
because that's Navy stuff. Yeah, that's Navy stuff.
Oh, because you're gonna, your ship might go. My brother was Navy, so that makes sense. I wonder if he did. I wonder if he had to do that.
All Navy people have to be certified firefighters. Not just that, you have to know basic CPR. Yeah, all of it is required.
I mean, it makes sense.
2 doctors on a ship of 5,000 people. When you hit the fan, you want to know. What do you mean? I have given people CPR before. Yes, I have. It's not my favorite thing to do, but
what, was it just because they didn't want them to wuss out? Because my understanding is to prevent inhalation injuries, I would want my service members to put something over their face, preferably wet, on their.
Well, because you're supposed.
They wanted you to get used to it.
Well, you're supposed to be mainly they do it because certain types of chemicals will burn the shirt itself, and that'll get inside your lungs, which will cause far more damage than just breathing the smoke. And there was no chemicals in the smoke; it was just wood smoke. And so they wanted you to understand, because you might be running out in shorts when the ship's burning. You may not have time to get any clothes on, and they want you to be able to get through it. And that's why they make you get on your belly and crawl, because when you're laying on your belly, you'll notice there's an area about this much between where the bottom of the smoke is and the ground.
Smoke rises. Yeah.
So as long as you stay in there, you're decent. So you shouldn't have to use it. Half the company got sent back, and multiple times too. And my commander said, "Why didn't you do it?" I said, "Because I said I knew it was going to happen." I said, "I already knew it was going to go on. I just crawled out." I said, "It's not the first time I've been in a fire anyway." I said, "But when I was in high school, I took a police and fire course. I thought about being a policeman, and then I decided, you have lost your mind. You cannot be a policeman." I did not have the temperament. Still do not have temperament. Somebody talked to me like they talk to these cops, I'd be in jail. I said, "Oh, we're gonna go find something else to do." So, but but that's all it's stuff. I was talking to a friend of mine. He asked me a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Do you mind if I write something?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I like to write." And he said, "You got so many good stories. Just let me write one." I said, "Sure. Just don't publish it without showing it to me first." Other than that, I don't care. I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm probably in about 50 or 60 books these days for lots of different reasons. I know I'm in one. It's called we can't say it on this. It's called the AH book. Yeah. It's the last word is whole. We're not going to say the first.
So, Dan, you said you had a couple honorable mentions. How many times did you enter the contest?
I think only 2013, 2016, and 2017. And I think those are it's 2 or 3. I have to look at my website, but it would be 2013, 2016, 2017 those would be the honorable mentions.
That's great.
Because I ended up giving up. Let me look. I have to look at my site. It's been a while. It's been a long time. But I have them set for which ones they were.
Oh, that's cool. You mostly write novels. You still write short stories?
I actually want to release a book of short stories this year, a collection. It's called Dead Things Meet God. And the idea is metaphysical takes on various different, zombie, vampire, or whatever different kinds of stories, from a more metaphysical point of view. I don't know how else to say it without spoiling it, but it's let's see, let's look here which one they were, what years they were. I'm pretty sure it's 2013, 2016, and where are you? No, it's probably in the,
because the podcast I just put up today on Book Funnel. I don't know if you met
That's the one that did 3635842.
yeah, that's the one we just.
So that one had 3,635,842 listeners.
3635438.
842 3635842.
842.
Don't worry, Jim. We don't get that kind of
But
listener.
Damon Courtney is the guy that created Book Funnel. And I'm mentioning that regarding short fiction because Book Funnel is a way right now with over 3 million books published a year. It's like discoverability is a real issue for authors. How do you get your story heard, your voice heard above the din of everything else? So Book Funnel is a tool that was created, and like I said, that's this week's podcast, where you can use your a short story as a special offer where people will then download the short story and give you their email. You can do your email marketing. They'll let them know that here's my next book coming out, that you can sell more books and get more, reaction, more, sales on the Amazon, page. But it's, that's what I'm saying. Like if you got short stories that you've not done, that can be a good, a good tool to use to get people to give you their contact information in exchange for a good story and go like, wow, this is pretty good. What else has she written? And then that's what leads them into, your other novels.
well, I use Story Origin for that actually. I like Book Funnel, but Story Origin is a little cheaper, and it's the same thing. So I actually give away, I have 3 or 4 books, like full books that I give away for free on my email list. So if people like, because I also had a bunch of other short stories published in other places too.
Yeah.
So if people like, cancer fighting zombies or time traveling murderous AI peyote cars or all kinds of weird and wacky things, or mermaids that want to kill you, they can get all that kind of stuff free. There's also a prequel book, a hidden prequel book that's not available in any stores for the Neodymium Universe series, the space opera that you read some of last year. Yep. So there's actually a hidden book for that people really, the only way to get it is with either in a giveaway that I'm part of or by being on my list. So if people want, they just have to go to buyjenfinelli.com/you want heroes and fairies, and they can pick up all kinds of really cool stuff.
They go to buyjenfinelli.com. Can they then navigate that to find this stuff?
There should be a pop-up, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a lot for somebody to remember listening to a radio show here now.
Yeah, but remember, when you're on a podcast, you can always go back and listen to it again.
Okay, thank you.
And you want to really, really sell books? Start making audio short clips. Most listened thing in the world right now. Them little 5-minute clips. That's how, you know what? I got friends promoting their books and other stuff, making money off their short clips because they're getting played so much.
Where are people? Where are you playing?
Well, we're everywhere. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You name it. If it's social media, we're on it. I have 44 social media pages because I learned early on social media sells.
He's hired somebody to do it, Jen. Don't worry. He's not doing it.
No, I don't do it anymore. Actually, station manager.
That you need to keep yourself dedicated to your mission.
What you need is you just need a Jen thing, and then you just need make every now and then just make a short clip and put it up on your YouTube page. Send it to us. We'll put it up on our YouTube page, or we'll put it up on Rumble. But regardless, it makes it easy for people to see it. They'll go by and say, "Oh, well, she's talking about short stories," or just all you need is something that grabs their attention, and you can put some kind of weird picture on it that grabs their attention. Anything that'll make them click, because once they click, they're in it, and it's only 5 minutes, so they're not going to click out of it. They're going to listen through it. People make the mistakes is they want to do 15 or 20 minutes, and by that time, people are like, "Yeah, it sounds fun. I'm out of here." Click. If you're a millennial let's be honest, if you're a Z-Genner or a millennial, your attention span is shorter than mine, and mine's not very long. So it's not a good thing. Is all I can say. No, all my Z-Genner friends have an attention span of about 7 minutes, and then they can't help
That's
themselves.
long.
They just can't help themselves. But no, it's not. I'm not being mean to them. It's just who they are. It'll change as they get older. When I was in 20, I was ignorant. I was in all kind of trouble. I was in the service too, but still I was getting in all kind of stuff. I couldn't help myself. But life is short. You got to enjoy it. What's that, Clara? I will post her website in a few minutes, and you can go over there and shop around, or she can post it in the chat. With
She put the chat. She put the link to her website there on the chat just there.
Oh, then it's already in the chat, guys. Just search through the chat, and you'll have it. Remember, ladies and gents, anything posted to any of our pages through chat is there for life.
I think I put it in the private chat.
Let me see.
You
put it in private. I can move it. Yeah, there it is. I see it. I'll grab it.
I am starting a new because I have a YouTube channel where I was doing I was at one point doing sci-fi, but it ended up being mostly historical reenactments. And so I'm doing a new one now that's going to be mostly science fiction, and there's going to be like a fun like Mass Effect like thing that somebody asked me to make a video of that'll be coming out hopefully in the next month. So I'll post from that account here into StreamYard, and then people should be able to see. And then people can, so that'll be bedtime stories with Sci-Fi Jen. Then people can.
And don't forget about us poor audiobook people. Unfortunately, some of us don't have time to read anymore, so we need audio.
Well, that's another thing. I got this last year. I'd spent a lot of time listening, like trying to do some things based on some advice I got from Ray Porter last year at Superstars. And so this year I actually got 3 audiobook like narration contracts that I finished. And then Chris is letting me narrate my own books for the Ruin of the Gods series. So that's going to be fun. So if people like
that's a definite challenge. It's very much said than done.
Remember, if you get in any trouble, the new AI programs are fabuloso. No, we don't like using AI as a bad word, but
AI programs that Joe's like exonerating all this stuff.
No, it's just something. Look, authors have to compete just like illustrators and media. Everybody's got to compete, and AI is a great tool for competing. It's just you can it does its stuff. Well, we like it because right now it offers 100.
You're going to the dark side.
No, it offers 160 voices for audiobooks. So you can play around. They got one that sounds like
voices for audiobooks.
Edward R. Jones or whatever his name was. It's like, hello, hi, you're listening to my audiobook. And then they got one sounds like Olivia Newton. They got all kind of crazy stuff over there. But John got me spoiled with Mission Earth.
Those are real people doing. That's why you're spoiled because they're real people.
All the sound effects.
Real people in their audiobooks.
It's somebody sent me an audio.
We use real artists with our art. We use real authors with our stories.
Pretty soon AI will be.
We're old school. We're the real deal. We believe in people.
Pretty soon
people.
Pretty soon AI will be real and we will be the fake people.
Yeah,
just know it's coming.
I think it has its place, but I don't. I really like my voice stuff better. Somebody I was offered money for my voice, and I opted not to sell it because there's so much fun stuff that I can do that I feel that 11 Labs can't, right? And with narration, because I was actually paid by an AI company to like train an AI on emotion. So I understand that like it has its uses, but for an audiobook narrator, it's so neat to connect with that person's interpretation of it. Like when you listen to Ray Porter reading, Jonathan Mayberry's work, it's like Mayberry connects with Porter's interpretations. So you're adding another layer of communication with the person with that, which is cool. So it's like, that's, I think what people want a lot of. If the goal is just, can I get a text to speech that makes the book readable to save me time? That's different. But
have you ever heard Microsoft Sam? Oh my God.
Yeah, I've heard all that stuff.
First audio, that was the most horrible. God,
I've heard the other stuff too. And we had one of our last year, one of the authors put up his books on He did a couple of books on AI, and everything else he's got was people. And he said he didn't sell a single one of his AI stories. His other books sell really well. It's just
Yeah, because AI stories suck. They have no middle.
no, just they done audiobooks AI, and the problem you're going to have with it is like there's inflections that the AI is not going to know, and like you can read different things and you have various emotions and stuff that come out, and sometimes
So-
if somebody's writing stories that has a double entendre, different meanings, an author like you were talking about Ray Porter, he's smart enough. He can read that and he can see that. And so he can put those inflections in there. So you can like, wait a minute, what did he just say there? Was it this way or that way? And that makes the story much more depth that you can get from it. I don't listen to audiobooks that much because I don't have time. I read way faster than I can listen. And because I don't like, I can go to 1.25, but faster than that, I'm just like, I get totally turned off.
Yeah,
But I have
it's
to book
too-
a
it's
week
too
for my
much.
podcast, so I read way faster than I can listen.
All of it's interesting. I'll tell you what I'm working on right now. I'm working on a 10 episode series on abductions. And what I've done is a friend sent me this program that you can give it a picture and talk to it, and it will make any song sound like you're singing. It's a fabulous program, by the way. It makes you sound like a rock star. So I decided that I was going to teach my AI to use my voice and my inflections and all my bad habits when I speak. And guess what? It's learning pretty quick. So it's going to be the narrator. I was technically going to narrate the series, but it looks like the computer's going to narrate the series in my voice. And so far, the first two I've done look fabulous. You can't tell they're fake. But I know more about AI than most people do. Still, it's but my biggest problem with this is what I'm doing
we
here.
can still be friends a bit, I think.
Now, listen, let me finish that. What I'm doing right now is we got somebody who's going to do all the promotional artwork when the series goes out. And of course, these are true stories based on real people. But the computer is going to do the voices for them too, because most of them, frankly, just get too nervous when you sit them down and put them in front of a camera. They just get antsy, can't sit still. They really want to tell their story, but it's hard to get it out, and then they break out into tears, which is nothing wrong with. But when you're trying to keep a series down, an episode down to 20 minutes, it makes it hard. So I started getting their voices, having them send me 15 minutes of their voice and feeding that to the computer, and the computer just uses their voice. And I like to do them like they're having a conversation. I'll tell them, have a conversation with somebody and send me that, because the computer learns faster that way than if you just read to it. I learned that lesson the hard way, unfortunately. But people, I'm going to tell you, like I tell everybody, when it comes to art or authors, I prefer the real thing over AI any day of the week. I have yet to read an AI story that I was impressed with. I got to be honest with you. Most of them, when I get to read, a lot of them have a really good beginning. And all of a sudden you get, 50 pages in, and it's jibber jabber. For like the next 150 pages, it makes no sense at all. Then all of a sudden, towards the end, it starts making sense again. You're like, people want their money back from buying this crap. I mean, really. And when it comes to art, I'm just a freak about real art. So it has nothing to do with anything other than I like to see the person and know the person that did that artwork. To me, that's part of the art, the personality of that individual. Same thing with authors. That personality is part of that story. I know authors don't like to say that, but it is. All authors' personalities are in their stories in some shape, form, or fashion. So you lose that when you do AI. Plus, I don't like the idea of computers taking jobs away from friends. That really hacks me off.
Yeah. Now, Jen, you're not in California, are you?
No, I fly back to Paraguay tomorrow, and right now I'm on the East Coast. Tomorrow,
Okay.
Monday, I fly back to Paraguay.
I was going to say, if you're in California, then
How long is that flight?
gala in April.
Oh, that would be cool, but I'm not going to be back. I'll be in the States for May. And the flight is not that bad. It used to be like 24 hours because you take an entire tour of South America with Taka Airlines, stop at every single airport. Now it's about 14. You get about a half hour to an hour layover in Panama and have to run like a bat out of hell with your ultrasound machine on your back, and then you get a herniated disc, and then you have trouble walking for the next several years. But because they make the time window too short.
Yeah,
but it's a pretty
tough,
short flight, only 14 hours.
That's not bad for going hanging around down there. It's not bad. So let me ask you this question. This is a little on the personal side, but I mean, when you're down there, because I've been in South America, I know it's not the safest place in the world. I mean, are you with groups of people that you trust? I mean, how do you personally feel? I mean, 'cause let's be honest, some of the stuff I heard you talking about, you're putting your ass on the line, and I'm
So
just curious.
yeah, I've known people in Paraguay since I was like 13. One of my
Okay.
closest friends when I was 13 was a former gang leader, so who had become he became a Christian, and that turned his life around. But he was still known as kind of like a big tough guy in town. So I would hang out with him, and I never had any problems. And that was when I was 13, right? Because I was safe, right? Now it's really about like knowing people, right? So I can go into there's indigenous communities that like so another thing is I'm going in with permission of people, right? So a lot of times things are safer for me because people know why I'm going, people know where I'm going, and a lot of people are afraid of me because I'm actually even though I'm incredibly weak right now, I'm a fairly large person. So I'm taller than most indigenous men, and it's mostly indigenous people that I'm working with. There is an EPP terrorist group that operates in some of the area where I work. They have very little reason to be operating exactly where I am because they're not, like there's nothing there for them. So it's really where you are. There's a terminal in Asuncion where there's some teenage trafficking that I want us to get involved with eventually, but we haven't been able to get in with, precisely because mostly because of time, because it's taking us so long with the cases that we already have. But safety is like I don't know. I don't think that's something that I've been worried about, because usually it's the victims that people are targeting, right?
That's
Like
true.
there
Well,
was a lady that I taught her a move that I taught her. She ended up using to fight off an attacker. Called me on the phone to come and pick her up in the middle of the night, and we came and got her. The guy ran away because he saw us coming. And part of it is, I guess, knowing who you know, like the guy who was driving me, just made sure to, like, while we were driving by there, we saw some police, we waved at them just so their lights would be behind us when we were going to go get this lady. So there's different ways to be safe and intelligent, but quite frankly, there's, I don't know.
Like me, you don't even think about it, do you?
Well, so because that's the thing is like, okay, I could die in a car accident tomorrow on the way to the airport. Or there was a woman who a meteorite hit her in the stomach from space, right? It's the only woman in history, as far as I know, to ever be hit by a meteorite. But that could happen. You never know if you're going to be the one person who gets hit by a meteorite.
You never know.
So there's somebody who, there was I'm not a missionary, but I have a lot of respect for a lot of missionaries. There's a guy who lived in Colombia during the time when they had the most intense, like, drug trafficking and communist terrorism. And he was safe the whole time he was there. He came back to the United States, and a robber came in the window and happened to kill him one night in his house in the United States, right? And he always said all his life, like, you're safest wherever, like, being in the will of God is the safest place you can be, because you can. For him, like, he lived his whole life doing these dangerous things in Colombia. He was fine. He died in the U.S. And then, as far as he was concerned, he went to heaven and he's good. So safety is I'm much more, I live in constant fear, not because of myself, but because I'm very afraid of failing.
I can understand that. I really can, but we got to get out of here. But I have to introduce you to a friend of mine. His name's Johnny Elite. He used to be the hitman for the Gambinos. So he was a bad boy. I ain't gonna lie. He got in all kind of trouble. Spent 6 years in a Brazilian prison, 7 years in a Turkish prison.
Gosh, that must have been awful.
Coming out of. So when he got home, he said, "This is blank, 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 blank." Got off the drugs, got off the alcohol, and now he works with the youth to keep them from getting in the mob. That's what he does. Got his own show. He does a whole 9 yards. I'll bring him on every so often. There's 3 of them, big time mobsters. I mean, these guys had rap sheets longer than my arm, and that's what they're doing. They're helping kids. So I told him, anytime he needs airtime, come see me, and I'll hook him up. Matter of fact, I hooked him up with setting up his own podcast on his own network. I said, look, and I said, this way you can do your thing, and you can talk, and he brings on all these youth and they talk about the trouble they've been in and the drugs they've been in and how this guy saved their lives. I'm like, so he went from killing people to saving people.
Good for him.
And somehow
Yeah,
he's out of
great.
jail too. So I just leave it alone. He's a monster, but we got to go. Look, anytime you need anything, just holler at John and myself. You know, we've always got airtime for stuff like this. We always keep X amount of time to help people out during the year. That's why
We'll do a podcast again in the not too distant future when I read your book there. We'll get you on that and do another interview on that one.
Well, I appreciate you all, and it's great to hear your stories and get to hear some of your industry wisdom. I very much appreciate your time.
Like I said, John knows a ton of stuff. So if you need anything on the weird side, I know all kind of stuff. It's I have to tell a friend of mine.
Existence covered here.
Yes, I told a friend of mine the other day I got so much crap in my head now. I'm starting to delete it just so I can put more in there. If it's like from 30 years or younger, I said delete. I don't need that. delete. Get out of my head so I can put something else in there. No, Jen.
One last thing before we round up there, I just want to make sure that link there, the WOTF 42 outlets, that link on there, please check out, click on that, and pre-order your copy of Volume 42. It's going to help these winners become bestsellers, and you're going to discover some amazing science fiction and fantasy, and perhaps meet your next favorite authors.
Stephanie, you need to buy me a copy. You go buy 2 copies. Yeah, buy me one.
There you go. That works for me.
What do you mean? I don't get nothing for free. What are you talking about? Go buy me a copy. I'll send my copy to Jen. How's that? She can read it while she's in South America. No, we really got to go though, Kurt. We got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and Authors Quill. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, of course, any moans, groans, bitches, or complaints, feel free to write to our station manager, Michelle DeRoche. She loves to hear from y'all. She loves when you call in about me, too. It's one of her favorite things. It really is. She loves it. Like the other day when the lady said, you need to fire that blankety guy. And she said, well, if I could, I would, but he's the boss. So I can't fire him. No, because we got a strike. That's why, yeah. Me and the boys got in trouble a couple months back. But anyway, on that note, we got to go and thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and the Authors Quill. Come on, have some time. Check us out. I'll be on the chat in just about an hour. Y'all can come check us out over there tonight. Oh, unfortunately, there will be some Epstein talk tonight over there. So y'all know how much I like to talk about that person. And then, of course, there's a lot of other things we'll be talking about tonight. And remember, it's always an open format. It's always for the audience. The audience always decides what the topic's going to be on the chat. No, the host on it's always audience ran. Well, because, you know, it's come show it is. It's just a chat with people about whatever happens to come up. Last week, a week before last, we were giving out recipes. Good recipes. I'm a fabulous cook, too. And I was giving out some really good recipes. Y'all should have been tuning in. No, I took them down off the archive. I didn't leave them yet. I see I was being a dog. Anyway, good night, everybody, and stay tuned for the chat.